do you have a better understanding of why things might have not gone the way that you would have hoped over the weekend, and what do you think you can do to improve on that?
I think that there was just a lot of throws left on the field. I got to practice better. I have a better understanding for, again, like you said, how the game went. But at the end of the day, I know that I can play much better than what I did on Saturday, and I'm excited for the opportunity to get better this week in practice and go out and have a better showing on Saturday.
Was it easy to be critiqued because you won a game when you guys were looking at the game film when coach was with you guys?
It's always easier, and then at the end of the day, you're happy with the win. However, you get it. It's the most important thing in the world. So it's a little bit easier, but at the same time, I have very high expectations of myself. So I'm always striving to be as close to perfection as possible, and I was far from it on Saturday, and I'm gonna do everything in my power to be a lot better on Saturday.
Because of those expectations, you seem pretty hard on yourself. Coach just said one of the things he hates the most is guys that feel bad after wins. Is that difficult for you to kind of shake that and bounce back quickly?
At times, but I completely agree with Coach, and he addressed the whole team and told guys that no matter how you played, you always got to be happy with a win, and that's what I try to do. And at the end of the day, like I said, the win is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Coach said you wouldn't want to take that grade he gave you home to your parents. Do you feel he's hard on you?
Yeah, but I'm just as hard on myself, so it's not that I disagree in any way. I agree with him completely, and like I said, I'm doing everything in my power to be better on Saturday.
What role did your receivers, not during the game, but in the days since, what role have they played in have they come up to you outside of the practice realm and all that and said, hey, my fault on this, or we can do this better, or we can do that better? Have there been extra things like that with those guys?
From time to time, but at the end of the day, I'm all about, accountability, and, I hold myself accountable for, my play and everything like that. But it's encouraging that, the group of receivers that we have, they're always trying to find ways to get better and improve, and I think the communication between they and I are great. But at the same time, we all have the same goal, and that's getting better and playing more efficient, and that's what we're going to aim to do all week this week.
Dan, when you see a defense for the first time, when you start to study for an opponent, what do you like to start? What do you like to look at? How do you start evaluating the defense that you're going to face?
You're going to go over more schematic stuff with your coaches and meetings and things like that. And while that's important, I think it's just as important to look at personnel and see how guys play, not just what they do. You see how they play, certain technique. You kind of evaluate some speed on film, and just really get a good feel for the players you're going to play against on Saturday. Because at the end of the day, once you get past the schematics, which I have made clear is very, very important, you definitely have to know the players you're playing against just as well.
Coach mentioned Rice with some versatility back there, 3 different safeties and kind of their interchangeable parts. What are the challenges of that? Picking it up quickly, or?
Well, then you've got a lot more speed on the field. When you throw another safety on the field, you've got a guy that's typically better in coverage than traditional third linebacker or something like that. So, it's going to look a little different because of the personnel and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I think we'll have a good beat on, from the film that we've watched and will watch, and you just have to make adjustments accordingly. It's just like any week, you respect what they do and do well, and you try and plan accordingly.
Dan's the team overall. What are you guys looking to improve in week 2?
Well, again, I can really only speak for the offense at this point, but I think the most important thing for us is just playing more efficient. Too many mental errors, too many points left on the field, too many misplays, and at the end of the day, we got to be more efficient. And I think that starts in practice. So we've got to have a great sense of urgency today in practice, tomorrow, all week, and really just practice efficiency as well.
After looking at film, what are some of the things you've noticed about your play on last Saturday? Maybe things that you can make adjustments.
It really for me was all about accuracy. I'm much more accurate than the way that I played, and a lot goes into that. You got to tie your feet in your throws. Your mechanics all week in practice. This, that, and the other. Your comfort level to play and everything like that. But it's just something that I've got to work on it all week in practice, and continue to improve all year long.
Coach has talked quite a bit about toughness and that being something he wanted to bring to this team and kind of improve. You mentioned guys like Mike Ragone, an extension of the O-line, a little toughness there. Where do you gauge the toughness of this team, and how much do you think, you know, a guy like that, or even all the tight ends has helped improve that since you got here?
Well, I think it's still work in progress, and something that you know, that coach has stressed through practice and through camp, and obviously will continue to stress all season long. But you know, it's really just having, you know, some grit to you, and you know, playing with a little bit of chip on your shoulder. I mean, you got to at times, and you know, I think that anytime you've got some guys, you know, our offensive line has done a great job of playing tough. You know, and like you said, the tight ends. But when you have guys that are doing it the right way and playing tough, you know, other guys see it and try and emulate that and make that a part of their game as well. But as an offense, you know, it's something, like I said, that we'll continue to work on and continue to preach all season long.
It seems easier for a lot of us to figure a guy that's 6'4", 250, well, he can bring toughness. But can a guy like Tony, you know, or Damon or DJ, can anybody bring toughness to a team?
Absolutely. I mean, that all just goes down to heart, you know, and playing with heart. And again, it's not just physical toughness; it's mental toughness as well. It's bouncing back from when things aren't going well, and hey, you know, we just had a 3 and out. You know, they scored. Now we got to respond and do something. And it's the mental toughness is just as important as the physical.
You think was the most efficient maybe offensive set that you guys had, maybe that last score in the fourth quarter? And I think Coach said something on the sideline, hey, let's go win this game now. And you did. The team walked out there. Was that one a pretty solid one, obviously? I
mean, yeah, anytime you're putting a scoring drive together, you're definitely going to have a pretty high level of efficiency. But, you know, I think we definitely made plays, you know, throughout the course of the game that were winning plays. But at the same time, you know, those are the ones that you're expecting to make. And, you know, when you go back and critique yourself on film and try and correct the things, it's the mistakes that you're looking to correct. So while we're happy with the positive plays in the game, you know, we now expect to make those plays. We've done them on film, and we expect to have that you know, something that's continually done. Whereas the things corrected, we need obviously more practice at doing and trying to close the margin of error, so to speak.